Boys Dynasty Podcast, the greatest podcast that you didn't want or ask for. And now introducing your hosts, Jake the Gluten Freak Harris and Peter Cheater Pigoo Hot Sizzle O'Donnell.
What's up, my homies, and welcome into the My Play. It is your boy Jake, the Gluten Freak Harris. It's been a long time. I've been busy with babies. I've been busy with the redraft league. I've been busy with my job. I've been busy with my other job. I've been busy with my... Well, you get it. Got a lot of shit going on. But I'm back. We're here. We're talking the Dynasty League, boys. Have not forgotten about you. I've been thinking about making this for weeks now. So today on the episode, we are going to catch back up on the happenings of the league. We're going to be checking in with the teams, seeing how they're doing, seeing what moves they've made, if they've made any big ones. We're going to be talking about the rookie draft as well. We're going to come back and check in and see how the rookie draft grades out, if we regret some picks, if we wish we could make different ones, and we were going to go from there. All right, so first up, we're going to share the screen of the Moi Play League. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, take a look at the league view here. Standings, that's what we want to see right here. All right, so top to bottom, I think there are a couple of surprises in the standings, to be honest. I think, I don't think we were expecting Mad Tom to be this far down with a roster that was this talented. I was expecting a slow start because of how many guys he had on the injured reserve. Guys like Hopkins, I believe, is still on your team. Calvin Ridley, not necessarily in reserve, but suspended. And then other guys, Dalton Schultz has been dog crap. Just, you know, a lot of bummers. But we'll kind of get into some of the reasons. And then Zach Wilson got injured as well. Baker Mayfield's been terrible. Yeah. Myself, obviously tanking, so no surprise that I am a bottom boy here. Another surprise, I don't think we expected Tom's team to be this dominant. You know, I had said that when he drafted Saquon Barkley, it was one of my favorite picks of the draft because Saquon had the potential to be the number one running back on the year. Well, he's sitting at number 3 this year. He was at number 1 for quite a while. And you can expect him to be looking pretty good. Austin Eckler's come back in a huge way. Eckler's sitting at the PPR running back 1 on the season. When you got the running back 1 and the running back 3, you're going to have a good time. Not to mention he's got Jamar Chase, who finally just popped off. Lamar Jackson carried him to a couple of 50-point games. Mike Williams ain't been bad. Allen Lazard's been pretty good. You just got a solid team. It's not a team that's stacked with like incredibly like a million young players. There are a bunch of good young ones. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been a huge hit, but it's just your picks that you went for in those early to mid rounds have all been huge hits. Congrats, Tom. Jim Mertz, another roster I didn't really expect to see here. Jalen Hurts has been incredible. Tyreek Hill has been outstanding. Aaron Jones has been disappointing. Your other running backs have been disappointing, frankly, with Jonathan Taylor and Melvin Gordon. James Robinson stayed decent, and the rest of your team's been solid. Travis Kelce is really the big difference maker here on this roster, just constantly coming through for you. And I think it's so interesting how tight this race is. I mean, 6 teams right now, if this is the playoffs, these are the 6 teams that are in the playoffs. And the biggest shock of all of them, by far, let's make this view, that's a bit better. The biggest shock of all of them by far is Ray Mertz's plucky little team. I thought he had one of the worst drafts I had ever seen. And with Dynasty, the consequences of having a dog water draft are so severe, but he's had some good luck swing his way with Geno Smith apparently being a god, and just getting dub after dub against like He stomped the Arizona Cardinals by 10 points. Like, it's just, what is going on in Seattle? They were supposed to be so bad, and they're so good. I don't get it. I don't get it. They can win with their offense. They can win with their it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever what's going on in Seattle. But ride it out, man. Joe Flacco was fantastic for you in the early beginning of the season. Trubisky, you've even got Trubisky, you got Pickett. There's just, Kenny Pickett got, big hit was, I didn't see that when I was watching the game. Pickett took a big hit in the second half, was ruled out for the remainder of the game with concussion. Oh, bummer, man. That sucks. Well, at least you didn't start him. All right. Yeah. Just really interesting that Rays team that I thought was going to be so bad has ended up being decent. And if the playoffs happened right now, he makes the cut. And teams like Pigu and Jachal would not make it. So just fascinating here. I also think it's interesting if you look at the scoring. Hot Sizzle's team, Peter Cheater, Pigu, Hot Sizzle, O'Donnell, sitting second to last in scoring. Bruh, that ain't good. Your running backs could use some help here. Your receivers, Kupp, Waddle have been solid. But like Judy hasn't been incredible. Ayuk's been pretty bad. He had a great week this week though. Elijah Moore has been horrible. Absolutely horrible. And to think that you wanted Chris Godwin and a first for Elijah Moore. You fool. Should have just taken when I offered it straight up. All right. Claypool had a great week, but it's been pretty bad. Russell Wilson's been awful. Matthew Stafford's been awful. And that's really it. Disappointing play out of your young receivers and disappointing play out of your veteran quarterbacks. That's really been the difference in your season there. So enough of that. Let's move on. And let's talk about some of these recent moves that have been going down. So let's see. We are going to view all. We're going to take out some of these trades. Some of these trades are blockbusters. Najee Harris getting shipped off to Rich the Mad Tom softball guy. Let's see a little bit of that.
We all know softball guy. A lot of you are softball guy. Let me very quickly take you through softball guy.
Let me really quickly take you through this trade, softball guy. You give away DeAndre Swift in a 2024 second. I like that you deferred the second to 2024. I think that was a good call. And you get Najee Harris. At the time this deal went down, it felt really good because DeAndre Swift was injured. You get a guy who's not nearly as injury prone. D Swift has gone down every single season of his career to injury. I feel it just feels like right now the Pittsburgh offense is in disarray, and it stinks that you're trying to win now with a guy like Najee who is just it's just not. He's not putting up points. It just sucks. It sucks. I've got him in a different league, Rich. I feel your pain, man. And if you ask me who won this trade, at the moment it really looks like it was
Race World, tragic grade starts to tank.
Got to give it to Ray's World, man. All right, next trade we got. This happened back about, I guess 2 months ago. League's been a little slow, boys. Lord, is that all the moves that have happened? I've been fishing, but I haven't gotten any nibbles. It'll heat up once the playoffs start. We got a Jordan Love and a fourth for Geno Smith, a fourth and a third. This seems like it has the potential to be a win-win trade in that Geno Smith is killing it right now, and Jordan Love might have a starting job eventually, someday. Maybe. Otherwise, I just straight up lost this trade. Another winning trade for your boy.
Race World, tragic grade starts to tank.
There was a three-way trade between myself, Ray's World, and Hot Sizzle O'Donnell. It was Michael Carter for Kenneth Gainwell. I would say I won that trade. Mitchell Trubisky for Michael Carter. I would say Ray lost that trade. Kenneth Gainwell for Mitchell Trubisky. I would say Peter lost that trade. So it would be 2 losers and a winner in this deal. However, it did guarantee Ray a starting quarterback for those early weeks. And I think Trubisky helped him to a couple of wins. So if all you gave up was Michael Carter, whose workload has just been steadily declining, Carter for Trubisky might not be a bad thing, and it's not a guarantee that Mitch doesn't end up a starter somewhere else next year. Not a guarantee that that doesn't happen. He doesn't get another chance somewhere else at some point. That said, he's looked horrible. So, yeah. And then Kenneth Gainwell, I don't think has done much of anything of note so far. So, maybe an injury happens to Miles Sanders. Kenny G gets the go, but I'm pretty sure it's Boston Scott after Kenny G. Another trade between Ray and myself. Ray is involved in every single one of these trades. Ray is out here hustling. Ray, I love to see it, man. Respect. Ray gets this. When a trade happens, someone's team gets better and someone's team gets worse. And if you're out here making the right calls like Ray has been, Ray's the one who's been getting better. All right, now on this trade here, Robbie Anderson for a third. Third rounders are interesting. There have been a couple of huge third round hits we'll get into. And Robbie Anderson did have one great week and has been terrible since then. So you may have traded away a third rounder for a single start. But then again, some of those third rounders, you might not even get a single usable week out of them. So we'll see how that one shakes out. I don't think you could. You probably couldn't flip Robbie Anderson for a third at the moment, so I'd probably have to say that was a losing trade. Now, here's an interesting one: Khalil Shakir in a 2023 fourth for Jarvis Landry. Again, Jarvis Landry had a great start, has been very slow as of late. Shakir, he came through in a big moment, and a 2023 fourth rounder, very late fourth with Eddie's being Eddie's fourth. This one's a toss-up here because Shakir may end up, this could be a completely inconsequential trade. 2025, we already talked about this one at some point. This is back in July. I'm pretty sure we've talked about that one before, so we don't need to get into these here. Any of these big blockbuster trades that I was making with Brett and those guys. Yeah, we don't got to talk about that. Let's instead talk about the rookie draft. We're 6 weeks into the season, and by this point we've got some idea as far as which rookies are really looking like they've hit, and which rookies are really starting to smell a little busty, if you know what I mean. Starting to smell a little musty, a little busty. Let's take a look at some draft results here. Okay, it opened up in a new window. I'm going to have to switch screen share here. 1 second, boys. All right. Let's take a look at this. Great. All right. In the first round, going from left to right, we'll just go, you know what? Let's go player by player. Manager by manager. We'll start off with myself. I took a lot of kickers early on in the draft, loaded up on early round draft picks, and by and large, it's looking pretty good for me. There were a few whiffs here and there, which we will talk about. Breece Hall, 101, he's been fantastic. Started off super slow, and ended up just being an absolute beast in PPR scoring. 9, 13, 15, 15, 27, 20. It's looking good. I'm excited for Breece next year. Drake London. Drake London started out white lightning hot, and the offense has definitely been ice cold in the last 2 weeks. It's been last 3 weeks. It's been rough. It's been rough out here in the streets for Drake London, man. I got him in my redraft league. I was excited, and it hurts. But I think the talent has already flashed. He's already had a breakout performance, looking good. Burks, not had the breakout performance, but his role has been increasing steadily. You look at his snap count, 37, 45, 69, 65. Went down to turf toe in this game and did not return. I expect when he comes back, he'll pick up right where he left off in the snap share of probably about 70 plus, and then you'll look to see that head into the 80s and 90s later in the season. G Willie already had G-Wagon, I should say, had a huge breakout performance here in week 2, and hasn't really replicated that since, which is too darned bad. Yeah, he's only broken double digits twice, but you've already seen it. When there's a competent quarterback not named Zach Wilson, he does great. Sky Moore, pretty much, this one's starting to smell a little bit busty, a little bit musty. If he doesn't crack 500 yards in this rookie year, I will be concerned. That said, these guys who are older guys coming out of the draft, fourth-year senior, coming out of a small school, you expect them to take some extra time to get up to NFL speed. His snap counts have been getting higher every week. 19, 4, 13, 28, 35. We'll see what this last one ended up being today. But he is involved in the offense. I would just like to see his role expand and overtake some of these other Jags that are on the team, like MVS, Mecole Hardman. He definitely needs to be playing ahead of those two. And it's got to happen soon. Like, they can't be getting blanks out of these two forever. Like, that's a bad stat line. Like, that's just straight up bad. MVS got blanked this week. Just, it's not great. It's a low bar to crush those two. George Pickens, huge breakout. John Mechie went down to leukemia, kind of sucks. Dameon Pierce has been a revelation. Matt Corral was a massive bust. Brian Robinson, probably the steal of the fucking draft. I could not believe that so many people passed up on Brian Robinson, especially for guys like John Ross, Velus Jones, like Jelani Woods, Tyquan Thornton, Calvin Austin, like dumb. And Isaiah Pacheco, another great value at 410. Overall, I give this draft a B+. You'll notice I didn't talk about Christian Watson because that shit is depressing. Give it a B+. A lot of hits, 4 glaring whiffs and so far in Sky Moore, Christian Watson, John Mechie, and Matt Corral. Hopefully Mechie can come back. Sky Moore and Watson can rebound at some point. And Matt Corral, he's dead. He's gone. It's over for him. The Carolina Panthers are careening towards the 101. So I don't think Matt Corral's going to have a job next year. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about my boy. You've heard it a couple times already.
Race World, tragic race.
That's enough. We've already heard it. Kenny Pickett, got to give that one an A. Kenneth Walker got super lucky with his starter going down ahead of him. Dude made a glass. Name's escaping me. It'll come to me in the middle of nowhere later. Nope. Can't think of it. Kenneth Walker, though, what a debut in his first day as a true starter. 97 yards and a tud. Huge. You'd love to see it. Alec Pierce. I did not think this guy was going to do anything. Nothing. A little bit, and then whoa, 3 weeks in a row with huge production. Well done, Alec Pierce. Well done, Ray. Desmond Ritter's, they're calling for Marcus Mariota's head, although they did just get a massive win, so that's going to stave off the Ritter talk a couple more weeks here. James Cook, kind of a bust, honestly, especially when you look at some of the players behind him. There's not too many players that I would have taken, but like Dameon Pierce, Brian Robinson. I understand the situation, and it's not over for James Cook yet. Tyler Algier, another great value pick. He is getting some playing time. He is getting some points, but his yards per carry are not awe-inspiring so far. Although his season yards per carry is actually decent. Most of those are ballooned up by one big run, though, and low volume. Khalil Shakir, could end up being a hit. He did great in his limited opportunities in week 5. Tyquan Thornton is he just had his first breakout performance, second time on the field, gets 2 touchdowns. We'll see if there's more of that to come for Tyquan Thornton. Velus Jones, we all knew that was a bad pick. Justin Ross, even a blind squirrel who has never found a nut knew that was a bad pick because the dude was an undrafted wide receiver. Those never work out. But I guess the Kansas City name that was slapped on the back was enough. However, if you had picked any of these 3 wide receivers, Ray, or any of these 3 picks behind it, you would be so much happier than if you had picked either of these guys. Terrible picks. Terrible, 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 terrible picks. All right, next up, Peter Cheater, Hot Sizzle O'Donnell, Jahan Dotson, A, Rashad White. Oh, and Ray, I give your overall draft we'll give it a B, because I think there were some really boneheaded picks down here, and I think we all reached a little bit on the second tier of quarterbacks. But if Ritter gets to see the field, he will score points. I just don't know if he's going to see the field if the Falcons keep winning games. So I think we got to give you a B. A couple big hits, 1, 2, 3, possibly 4, maybe 5, and then a lot of misses here in these this bracket right here. Hot Sizzle, A, B, F. Give that overall draft I think we give it a C plus. To a B, C plus or a B. Jahan Dotson, great pick. I am so stupid for not taking him. I was debating between Watson and Dotson. Ended up going Watson. I went with the situation over the talent, and I am paying the iron price for that mistake. Brett Fitzgerald didn't make a pick. Juan Solo didn't make a pick. Jordan Chall, David Bell's getting playing time, but not doing much with it. Trey McBride, not doing much. Zamir White, not doing much. Romeo Dobbs, might be the steal of the draft, honestly. We'll see. He hasn't done much in a couple weeks, but Aaron Rodgers sure likes him. Not doing anything with him, because Aaron Rodgers sucks this year. But, yeah, I don't think he's going to be an alpha wide receiver. I don't expect him to be a wide receiver 1. He could be one of those deals where it's like Aaron Rodgers has no one else to throw the ball to, like geriatric Randall Cobb or Romeo Dobbs, so I'm just going to throw it to Dobbs. And this might be Dobbs' highest value yet. It might be that the Packers go out and get a wide receiver next year, and he becomes a wide receiver 3 on a Packers offense that traditionally has only supported one good wide receiver. And then moving on, giving this a grade, I think we got to give it at least a C just for hitting on Dobbs here. And it's tough to hit on a wide receiver in the 4th round. Very difficult. Mad Tom, softball guy, Rich. Not Tom. His name is Rich. We'll see with this guy here. Nope, not so much there. In his limited action in week 3 or whatever, 2, he looked pretty terrible. Yeah, he's got negative points. Ugh. Wandale, when he's on the field, he's great. But, is it just wide receiver in New York or just made out of glass or something? I don't know. This dude can't. The wide receivers there just can't stay healthy. He had a good week, got a tud. Like to see it. TDP's been super disappointing. Really thought this guy was going to do something this year. I don't know why they keep spending 3rd round draft capital on running backs if all they're going to do is just take them out behind the woodshed and beat them to death, because that seems to be what happens to 3rd round running backs in San Francisco. Jelani Woods, you like to see your tight end getting some snaps. You like to see him getting on the field, but you want to see the snap percentage up around 50, and you want him to be on pace for about 50 targets at least by the end of the season. Not happening for Jelani Woods. I loved how big he was, but yeah. So all in all, we're going to give this draft class a D. I think we got to give it a D. Jury's still out on J-Mo Williams, but everything else so far through week 6 has been horrible. Iceman, F. Well done on Isaiah Spiller. Eddie, F. Well done on Snoop Connor. And Jim Mertz, A+ on Chris Olave. I feel so stupid for taking Sky Moore over Olave. We've got Sam Howell. That was a dumb pick. Everyone knew it. We've got Kyron Williams. That was a dumb pick. Everyone knew it. And Calvin Austin. That was also a dumb pick. And everyone but Jim knew it. So that's 3 picks that are F, F, F with an A+. Give it a, you hit on the important one. So I'll give you a C. You hit on the first rounder, which is the important part. That's it for the picks. It really seems like the early wide receivers hit at a very high rate so far. those wide receivers that were drafted in the first round. London seems like a hit. Wilson seems like a hit. Olave seems like a hit. We'll see on JMO. Dotson was a hit. Just a lot of hits here with those first round wide receivers. Jury's a little bit out on Burks, and then we're going to see on these second rounders that went here and here. Pickens is looking good. Pierce looking good. So yeah. And then the running backs, the early two, the two that everyone knew were going to be good, have been good so far. Kenneth Walker just now getting involved. And then the situation ended up working out for Dameon Pierce. That's why I drafted him there, was his bad situation. But shockingly, super surprisingly, Dameon Pierce is talented. He looks fantastic when running the ball. He is for sale, so hit me up. But, yep. I just don't know how much I'm wanting to stock up on running backs when I'm rebuilding. So Dameon Pierce is for sale. He is not cheap because he does look incredible. And I am willing to hang on to him and play him in second year. I mean, look at these numbers. This is what a breakout looks like, dude. He gets like almost every single rushing touch that the Houston offense gets. He's almost 5 yards per carry. Like, dude's popping off. And he gets a ton of targets. Like, the Houston Texans realized that, oh, Rex Burkhead is old. Dameon Pierce is 10 years younger than him. Let's get him the ball instead. As far as undrafted free agents that really kind of ended up making an impact, there really haven't been many, I don't think. There was the one guy from Pittsburgh that I ended up picking up. Warren, I want to say. But I don't remember any other real big ones. If I'm forgetting some, holler out in the chat, in the text message thread. But yeah, I don't think there were really any other big ones. So I was debating adding a fifth round, but it seems a fifth round of rookie picks, but I don't think I'm going to end up doing that. I kind of want to keep I want there to be a little bit of juice left for the undrafted free agents after the rookie draft, so that those teams that sell all their picks to go all in, I want them to have a chance to kind of add some young talent to their teams as well in the form of some rookies that go undrafted in the rookie draft. That way, even if you do push the chips all in and you fuck up your team, you have a chance to kind of scratch and claw, and maybe Romeo Doubs goes unsigned and you grab a guy like Doubs. He was 2 picks from going unsigned. Maybe Pacheco goes unsigned, or even Brian Robinson was super close to going unsigned. So, like, those are guys that you can kind of maybe scrape together onto your team and end up getting some crazy value from an undrafted free agent in the Moy Play rookie draft, undrafted free agent, of course. As far as where we are in the league, I think there are some fantastic storylines going on in the league right here in the standings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, and 2 teams. This is a league that is beating up on themselves and beating up on 2 very weak teams down here at the bottom with Rich and myself. I don't think Rich's season is done, though. I think he's got reinforcements on the way. The biggest disappointing team right here is got to be Jay Chal. That's Peter's team. Jordan went for a young team. It was a young win now team. He pushed every single one of his 2023 picks into the pot. He's got no picks until 2024, and it is just really not really working out for him. Guys like Kyle Phillips look like they're on their way to an early breakout. Not so much as of recently. The brakes have been pumped on him. Trey McBride hasn't looked good. Hassan Haskins hasn't done anything. Trey Lance down for the season. Javonte Williams down for the season. Like, those are fucking killer, dude. That feels so bad. That's brutal. The good news is he's still young. He still has these assets on his team for next year. But if he wanted to, I think Jordan would be in a decent position to go for a... to try and, there's no reason to try and tank this year because you've got no picks. There's nothing to tank for. But with your own 2024 pick, you're in a decent position to tank next year. So if you started to get some good offers on some of your older players like Cortland Sutton, Kareem Hunt, Devin Singletary around playoff time this year, and you end up not making it or feel like there's no way you're going to win, would be a great opportunity for you to push your chips all into the middle, sell those guys, get some picks, get some other guys back in return. Maybe an underperforming rookie plus a pick, something like that. And just kind of re-roll and see what you got tank for the next year. And then in 2024, you got your own early first, and you're good to go. The other team that I think is really interesting is Peter Cheater Pigu Hot Sizzle O'Donnell's held on to every single one of his 2023 picks. It's going to be really interesting for me to see if Peter ends up pushing all of his picks. I forgot to show you guys the screen. Sorry about that. It's going to be really interesting for me to see if Peter pushes his picks in and tries to make a push for the playoffs, or if he's going to just say, you know what, come what may. If I make the playoffs, then I'll push the chips in, but I'm not going to push to make the playoffs with my picks. It's either I make it, then I push in, or I don't make it at all. I think that was probably what I would do if I was in a situation, would be to just hold the picks and see. This may end up being the 103, the 102 even. And if he ends up missing the playoffs, then you've got a great draft pick. But if you want to make a push, you could probably take that first and turn it into a very useful running back. I mean, I think if you took your first and second and went out and got my Damian Pierce or something like that, or your 2023 first, or you can even sell your 2024 picks and kind of hedge your bets, hang on to your 2023. Like you could probably get Brian Robinson for 24 first. Guy who's got a starting job locked up, something like that, and locked up for probably a year, probably a year to 3 years for Brian Robinson, having that ground rules locked up in Washington. But yeah, one of the other really interesting ones is this team and Juan Solo being underratedly good and having 2 first-round picks. I think that's fantastic. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what ends up happening with Juan's team, and if he decides to push all in on his picks as well. I'm going to take us to a website that I love, by the way. We're going to go to keeptradecut.com because I'm going to... Where is the... There's like a league code that you can enter. League power rankings. Sleeper league IDs, the last 18 digits of your league URL. So this long ass number here would be the league code then. Let's give it a shot. Perfect. This is going to be... I have to always make you answer a question. Sorry. All right. We're going to look at... That doesn't make any sense. Huh. That makes no sense whatsoever. Okay. Well, let me show you what I'm looking at. This is interesting. I gotta open up another thing. I am absolutely flabbergasted that that's the power rankings. So here's the power rankings. And we are looking at the starters. Power rankings for the starters. And currently, Rich's starters are last in the league in power rankings. And somehow mine are first in the league in power rankings. This is really making me doubt this tool. This is keeptradecut.com. You go to Dynasty Power Rankings, and it kind of shows you how this place sees your starters. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Let's do players only. What? Huh. Apparently, if I wasn't benching, or if I didn't have all my good players on my taxi squad, I would be the best team in the league. I don't see it that way, but okay. So yeah, it's got kind of a rankings. It breaks it down like this is your quarterbacks. So like Lamar Jackson, big circles are more value and small circles are less value. So like we look at Tom's team here, Saquon, Eckler, Jacobs, Dillon, Spiller, Penny, Rashad Penny, that was his name, and so on and so forth down the line. So let's take a look at some of the underperforming teams like Hot Sizzle and why it hates you so much. It looks like you've got the value on Wilson and Stafford has really fallen off. And I think that's what really shows. Do you see the number? It goes QB4, LAC, and then 8525. That little number is their arbitrary like value. This is the value they use in their trade calculator. So this whole site is really interesting. You can go to a Dynasty trade calculator and kind of see how they value those guys. You don't have any running backs worth more than 3.7. I have a hard time believing that Matthew Stafford is worth less than Tony Pollard, though. So maybe I'm not reading that number right. I'd also be shocked if Raheem Mostert was worth that much. I guess he is because of a starting job. Take it back. Yeah, so it kind of shows you your values, yeah, so on and so forth down the line. Rich, Joe Burrow, Zach Wilson, da-da-da. Nick Chubb, Najee. Really? Nick Chubb's worth more than Najee at the moment? That's fascinating. I'm learning things right now. I'm learning alongside you guys. And Miles Sanders is worth a little bit less than Najee. Incredible. Absolutely strange. All right. So, yeah. I guess Kyle Pitts is still worth a decent amount, even though he's been sucking this year. Mark Andrews has surpassed him in value. That's good to see. That makes sense. Kelsey is worth less in Dynasty than Kyle Pitts. I think that's probably true. Yeah, I think that's probably true. But, man, you see, like, Ray's actually put together a pretty solid team. Very interesting. So, yeah, come in here, take a look, and then if you go with full team plus picks, apparently it really likes my strategy of young players because, Jesus Christ, I'm almost doubling up the next closest team in value. Yeah. And it does not include 2025 picks. It wasn't doing that for a while, but it does include the 2025 picks. All right, anyways, I've been wasting your time. If you guys have listened to me just kind of talk to myself for the last 10 minutes, I don't know why, but thanks for sticking with me. I hope you guys at least enjoyed that first 30 minutes before I kind of just went on my own thing and started entertaining myself. Not in that way, man, all right? Chill. It's not like that. Anyways, boys, I'm glad I could make this for you. I love you all, and I will see you guys in another couple weeks. Hopefully it won't go a full 6 weeks before I get to record again. Perfect timing. My babies are awake. Later.